Hey all, welcome to this video. In this video, we will be making an app called FooterLitch. For that, as you can see, my Flutter folder is already selected in my VS Code. So I could just go to terminal and write Flutter create FooterLitch. Let's click enter. Now let's open up our folder and let's drag our FooterLitch into the workspace. Now before we start doing anything with the project, firstly please come to this link here. The link will be given down in the description box below. Come to basic widgets. Here you can go to projects and then to final. Inside final you will see assets. Please download all the image that you see here. I've already downloaded the image, so I'm just going to grab this folder, come to my project and paste it. You could either come to your folder here, create a folder called asset and then paste all the image, or you could make an asset folder here and then grab all the image and put it up. Now with that being done, I also have one more thing to do. So let's go to a new tab. Let's write pub.dev. Pub.dev is a website where you could find third-party packages for Dart and Flutter. Here we are going to be using a package called Google_Fonts. And then let's click the menu here. Here let's go to installing. Under the dependency section you will see Google_Fonts.2.1.0. Let's copy it and let's come to our project where we should look at pubspec.yaml. As you remember, our dependency was under this dependency section, so we need to come to this dependency section. If it said dev dependency instead of dependency, we would come and paste it here inside dev dependency. But as our one says dependency, we are going to be adding it under Flutter. The best thing to do is come outside Cupertino icons, click enter and just paste it. Make sure your Flutter and Google font is aligned in the same line. Now with that, let's go down where we have our assets. Let's select from end till start for this two line and uncomment it. Now let's click this much, as much as we have these letters, and let's write assets, the name of our folder, and let's click Ctrl S and it will get all the images and this dependency here, and we are good to go. With that, firstly I'll remove this test folder. We do not need this now. And let's open up our emulator. Let's go to lib where we have our main.dart, and inside main.dart we write our code. So to write our code, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this import line and this void main method, because these two are the most important thing that we need, and let's remove everything. Now with everything removed, let's make a stateless widget. Before that, let's rename it to FooterLitch and let's copy it. Let's make a stateless widget and let's pass the name here. Now for this container widget, I would like to return a material app first. Material app. This material app needs a title, so let's pass a string. Let's name it FooterLitch. Let's pass a debug banner to be false, and lastly let's pass a home. The home will be a const home constructor, which we can come outside this stateless widget and make a new stateful widget. The stateful widget is named home, the same as here, and now all the errors are gone. Now for this stateful widget, let's return a scaffold with an app bar. Let's pass the title here of text, and let's call footer lich here. Now one thing, just come here, my settings, and let's go to fonts, and let's bump it up to 18. Alright, that is good. Let's pass the const parameter here. After this app bar, let's call our body, where I want to call a center widget, pass its child parameter, and give it a text widget. For the text widget, I would like to use an emoji, so let's go and find one. Let's grab this. Alright, so now we have a basic app with a first page, the scaffold, and an app bar and a body. So let's run it. Now, running a project takes some time, so what I'm going to do is pause this video and come back when it's done. Alright, so the app is done building. Let's close off this widget inspector. And now, before we start doing anything with this app, oh, you can see me there. That's nice. Hey. Alright, so now, before we start doing anything, Flutter has its own theme. As you can see, this light theme here, you have the UI level text that's in white. So the brightness is brightness.light. You have a blue app bar and a white scaffold. However, we would like to use our own. To do that, let's come to lib and let's make a new file. Let's name it footer lich underscore theme.dart. Let's import material.dart. Also, let's import Google Fonts package. Let's make a new class footer lich theme. Now inside this class, I want 4 variables. So first, make light text theme, make light theme, and then make dark text theme, and then lastly, let's make dark theme. Now the idea is I want to make a light text theme and hook it up with the light theme. So whenever we are on the light theme, we could always use the text for the light theme. Also, doing the same, make text theme for the dark theme, so that whenever we are on the dark side, everything is changed to white, and hook it up with the dark theme. So let's start making it. Firstly, I'd like to call a static text theme, and let's name it light text theme. This variable should equal to be text theme. Why? Whenever you are using a constructor in a variable, if the value of a variable is a constructor, the return type should always be the same as the constructor. Alright, so now let's start. This constructor here gives us access to a lot of different types of parameter. So body text 1, body text 2, headline 1, headline 2, so on and so forth. The idea is, for example, if I hard-coded one singular font here with its size, color and everything, imagine in your entire app you would only get to use the light theme as one singular font, which is not the case. So the team at Flutter gave us a lot of different parameters where we could pass different fonts for different items. So let's pass Google Fonts.Open Sans. One thing to keep in mind, throughout this entire app, we will be using only Open Sans, but you could go to Google Fonts website and call any other font that you want. So let's pass a font size of 14, a font weight of font weight dot W700, and a color of colors dot black. So whenever we are in the light theme, we want the font to be black. Now let's just copy this Google font and let's pass a headline 1 here. For headline 1 we want the same. The only difference should be the size should now be 32, and instead of W700 let's just write bold. Let's make headline 2 and let's pass the same, and let us change the font size to 21, make it W600 or perhaps 700. Let's call headline 3, do the same, give it 16, make it W600, we're good. Let's call headline 6, do the same, and make 20 and W600. So this was 5 different types of font for the light text theme, and now let's start make the light text theme itself, light theme itself. So let's get outside this theme data and let's make a new variable. This one should be our light theme. So let's start making it. Static theme data. Now we name it light, and inside this let's return a theme data. This theme data can have access to a lot of things. So brightness should be brightness dot light. Brightness dot light, so that whenever we are on the light mode, this thing here, including the block, becomes black. Let's call an app bar theme. App bar theme takes an app bar theme widget where we want to pass the foreground color to be colors dot black, and the background color should be colors dot white. Now after this app bar, let's call a floating action button theme data. Floating action button theme takes the const of floating action button theme data. The floating action button theme data should have a foreground color of colors dot white, a background color of colors dot black. Let's pass a bottom navigation bar theme, which takes account of bottom navigation theme data, where I want to have selected item color to be colors dot green and unselected item color to be colors dot gray. Now lastly, as we made a light text theme here, we should pass this light text theme to the text theme parameter of this light theme. So this one takes a text theme where we are going to pass the light text theme that we created earlier. Alright, so now we have a light text theme and a light theme. What I want to do is copy this entire light text theme and come to the dark text theme and paste it. The only thing we need to do is change the name from light to dark, and all the fonts should now be white instead of black. So white. Now lastly, let us also copy this light theme itself, so we could only change whatever we have to change for the dark version. So if I paste it, this light should be dark now, and The brightness should now be brightness.dark. The app bar should have a different color. The foreground should be white and the background should be gray 900. The floating action button should have a background color of green. The bottom navigation bar should have the same color, and the text theme should now be dark text theme. So now we have made the entire theme data for our app, and now we can start using it. To use it, let's go to main.dart, where we have our material app. This material app has a theme parameter where we could pass our own theme. Now to do that, firstly, let's make a new variable. So let's name it final theme equals to, so our footer_lich theme class, footer_lich theme dot, let's call light. So if we come here and pass this variable, and let's click Control S to see what happens. Now one thing to keep in mind, this theme here is a parameter of material app, and this theme here is the variable theme that we have made. As you can see, we have brightness.light because everything is light, so the fonts are black, and we have hooked this black font here. If I come here and call dark and Control S to save, you see we have a different background now. Our colors are changed here and here. Now, to see something in action, let's say if I want to use this theme here, we could come to this app bar. Let's remove this const. Let's call style theme.offContext dot text theme dot, just a second, let's pass headline 6 here, and if I Control S to save, we have the headline 6 here. For the body, we could do the same, pass a comma and write style theme.offContext dot text theme dot headline 1, and if I save it, you see it's changed. Alright, so now it's time to advance the app. What we have done until now is we have made our app, hooked up the assets, the dependency in pubspec.yaml, and give the entire app our own new theme. Now, before we go further, let's take this widget here, cut it out, the entire home page. Let's go to lib and let's make a new folder, home.dart, and let's paste it here. But before that, let's bring material.dart and let's finally paste it. Now we can go to main.dart and tell main.dart where the home page is living. So now our code is error-free and it's much more abstracted than before. Now, what I want to do now is bring up a bottom navigation bar where we will have 3 different items to choose from, and depending on the item that we select, the body should show the appropriate item. To do so, let's go to home.dart. Here, let's come to the lib and make 3 new screens. So first, let's name it card1.dart. Here, I want to import material.dart, make a stateless widget and name it card1. The body should be a scaffold with a body that has a center text, center child text that says card1. Now we could just copy this entire thing, come to lib and make a new file called card2.dart, and we could just paste it. Now let's show you a fast route to change everything. Let's click Command F, and here we have card1, which we want to change to card2. So Control F or Command F to change this. If you click this button, see all the places where it used to say card 1 is now card 2. Now let's make the third screen card 3 dot dart, and let's paste it and do the same. If I press Control F, each place where it says card 1 should now be card 3. And if I click this button, all the places are changed. Control S to save. Now if I come to this home.dart, here we have a body. I'll leave the body as it is. Here we have a parameter inside the scaffold, of course, called the bottom navigation bar. Bottom navigation bar takes a bottom navigation bar widget. Bottom navigation widget has 3 different parameters that you must pass. The first is current index. The second is on tap. On tap will give you a value whenever you tap something. And lastly, items. Items, because you want to pass different items to the bottom navigation bar. Now, before we start doing anything, current index keeps the track of index that you are on. So let's say inside your bottom navigation bar, you have 3 different buttons. Index will keep track of the item that you have selected. So 0, 1, 2. On tap is fired each time you click something. So each time you click something, depending on the index you are on, you are getting the index in this function. And with that index, you could do something. Items parameter takes into account multiple different widgets called the bottom navigation bar item, which shows here an icon to display something. Now before we pass anything here, let's go to our home state class and let's make 3 new variables. The first is a final list, and let's name it screens, which should equal to be a const list. Const because this list will never change. The first item is card 1. The second item is card 2. The third item is card 3. Next, let's make an int. Let's name it screen index and let's set it equals to 0. Now lastly, let's make a void change screen. Void change screen should accept a variable here, so int I, and here inside it we can call setState. Now setState because we want this to change to this whenever we click something. So if I make the screen index is now equals to I, what it basically does for me is if I hook this function to this on tap, we will get a value. This is a must. We will must get a value. So we can pass this value inside this set state here, and the set state will change this variable. So then what we could do is inside the body parameter, we can call screens at this screen index, and whenever this index changes, we can switch from one to another. So now we have a list, an index to keep track of the list, and a function to change the variable. So now we can pass here screen index. We can come here and call change screen, and instead of I, we can just pass this value. And inside this items, we can call bottom navigation bar item. Bottom navigation bar item takes an icon. So an icon, icons dot explore, and then a label, which is an empty string, and then a tooltip, which too is an empty string. Now if I copy this entire thing and pass it 2 more times, and if I Control S to save, you can see we have 3 different items here. Let's change it to person, and this one to article. Now if I Control save, you see we have 3 different items here. And as you can remember, inside our theme here, we say that the selected item should be green and the unselected item should be gray. It is what it is. So now let's cut it out, remove it. For the body, we do not need the center anymore. What we need is we need to access our screens list at our screens index. So now if I save, see we have third index and it's card 3. If I go to first index, it's card 1, card 2, card 3. That is amazing. Now with the bottom navigation bar out of the way, it's time that we start working with each of this card. So for card 1, what I would like to do is bring up an image here with a few different text. Now, for the card 1, let's start working with the card 1. For card 1 here, before we do anything, firstly I would like to make 4 new variables. So a final string, and let's name it category, and this should be a string where it says editor's choice. Let's make a new final string. Let's name it title, and this one should be a new string now where it says the art of dough. Let's make a new final string description, and this one should now be learn to make the perfect bread. Lastly, the last variable, final string chef. Let's make it a string, and this should be Ray Wenderlich. Alright. Now we can come to this scaffold here. Now one thing to keep in mind, each of this card 1, card 2 and card 3, the thing is none of them needs a scaffold, because inside our home we are already in a scaffold and the body parameter is just showing whatever comes into it. So it's something that we can avoid too. We do not need the scaffold, so let's get rid of this. We only need this center. So we could do the same here. Get this center, got it. Instead of the scaffold, we can just have the center. Do the same with card 3. Take this center, and instead of this scaffold, let's just pass the center. Now, as you can see, everything is still working fine, as it should. Now with card 1, we have already made these 4 variables which we want to start using now. For card 1, instead of this text, let us bring a container. And if you have a container, you should remove this const. This container should have a few different variables, few different parameters to configure. Firstly is padding, which is a const edge inset dot all of 16. Then constraints of a const box constraints that expand, where we want a width of 350 and a height of 450. Then call a decoration, where we can pass a const box decoration. and pass an image where it takes a decoration image. And the image should be asset image. Now the asset image takes an address to our asset, so asset slash mag1.png, and if I save it, you can see our image is here. Now after the image we have a fit variable, fit parameter, where we can pass box fit dot cover, and what this will do is it will take this entire constraint. So if I Ctrl S to save now, you see it's here. Now outside this decoration we can pass a border radius. Border radius takes border radius all, where we can pass radius dot circular, and let's pass a value of 10. Now if I Ctrl S to save it, you see we have a border radius of 10 on all four sides. Now the thing is, for card 1, card 2 and card 3, we will be having this exact same design. So what I would like to do is take this container, copy it, come to card 2, instead of this text, paste it here, save it, come to card 3, instead of this text, paste it here and save it. The only thing that will change is we will change the image for all the 3 screens. We will come to it later. So let's get rid of card 2, let's get rid of card 3. So before we start, we go any further, I'll explain again. In this center we have a container, and this container has a padding, a constraint, a decoration, and now it's time we pass a child. For the child, I want to use a stack widget. A stack widget is similar to rows and columns, but the prime difference is rows and columns only work in a 2D dimension, a 2-dimensional space. But stack, on the other hand, is a 3D object. If you see here, if I pass the text of, let's say, this one here, the category, I can pass this category, and let's Ctrl S to save it. You see I have the editor's choice here. Now if I pass another text that says chef, and if I save it, you see both of them are stacked on top of each other. The reason is stacks everything on top of each other unless or otherwise you wrap it with a widget called the position widget. Position widget can then determine where in the stack you want to put your item. So let's get rid of this. For the chef, let's call style, where I'm going to pass my style. So let's call footer lich theme dot dark text theme dot body text 1. Alright, now let's call the other text and let's pass the title, where we want to pass the style to the footer lich theme dot dark text theme dot headline 5. Let's copy it, let's paste it one more time, and let's change it from title to be description, like we have here, description, and the last one should be chef. So for description, I want to have a body text 1, and for the chef, let's also have a body text 1. And now if I Ctrl S to save, you see all of them are stacked in one place. Now to change their position, what we need is, firstly, I'll leave this first text exactly where it is. I'll start from the second one. For the second one, let's wrap it with a widget called the position widget. So POSITIONED, positioned. Inside the position widget, I can call top and pass 20. You see now from the stack it came 20 below. For the third one, let's do the same. Let's change it to a position, and this one should be bottom of 30 and a right of 0. So what this will do is it will be gap from 30 from the bottom, and from right it will be 0. So it will be somewhere here. If I save it, you see it came here. For the last one, let's wrap it to the center, and let's change it to positioned, and let's pass a bottom of 10 and a right of 0. And if I save it, you see now we have all the 4 different texts, nice and well laid out. Also, if I come to my main.dart and change the dark to light and save it, you see we have a very beautiful app. Let's go back to dark. Now, with that done, we are done with card 1. It's time that we start with card 2. For card 2, let's get rid of this, and let's get rid of this. Let's come to card 2. For card 2, let's change this mag 1 to mag 5. We have the same exact design as before, and now if I press Ctrl S, you see we have a different image now. Now, important for card 2, for this container, let's pass a new child. For this child, we need a column. A column takes the children. Now, inside this children, we have 2 different things that we want to do. Firstly, I want to make an author card, and secondly, pass a stack of text. We have 2 different things that we want to do with card 2. Now, this author card should be an widget that we use here from outside. So let's make a new folder, and let's new file and name it author_card.dart. Now, before we start working with this author card, we have a third widget that should come from outside inside this author card. To do that, let's go to lib and let's make a new file and name it circle_image.dart. Circle_image.dart should have an import of material.dart, and let's make a stateless widget, and let's name it circle_image. Circle_image should expect 2 different variables. So a final double, let's name it image radius, and a final image provider with a question mark, and let's name it image provider. Now we can come to this constructor, put a comma and Ctrl S to save, and then pass whatever you have to pass. Required this dot image radius, required this dot image provider. Now, instead of this container, let's get a circle avatar. Circle avatar should have a few different items. The circle avatar needs a background color of colors.white and a radius of image radius, so the property that we have just made. Lastly, it needs a child of a new circle avatar where we want to finally pass an image. So for the radius, it should be the same image radius, but this time I want the -5 from it. And for the background image, it should be the image provider that we have made. So this was the widget that we will be using inside author card. So for the author card, let's import material.dart, and let's make a stateless widget where I'm going to name it author card. The author card should also have a few different parameters. So a final string author name, final string title, final image provider with a question mark, image provider. Now, if you want to get rid of any error while writing things here, the best thing to do is come after the second key, put a comma, and then save. This will take everything to the next line, and you won't have any error while writing new parameters. So now I could just write required this dot author name, put a comma, click enter, required this dot title, put a comma, enter, required this dot image URL. Now this author card should have this container where we want to pass a padding of const inset.all of 16, and for the child let's pass a row where it takes the children. Now this child should first take the circle image that we have. But before we do something, let's also pass this author card in the card 2. So for card 2, where we said author card, let's put the author card, and for the author name, let's pass a name of Mike Cats. Let's pass the title of Smoothie Conjure. And for the image, let's pass a widget of asset image with an address, so assets slash thor author underscore cats dot jpeg, and if I save it, now this row for the author card, firstly I want to pass a circle image that we have made, circle image, so the image radius should be 28, and the image provider could be just staying here, image provider, because image provider is getting the image from this card too. And now if I save it, you see we have an image with the upper radius here. Now after this circle image, let's pass a const sized box of a width of 8, and then a column with children. The column should have a cross-axis alignment of cross-axis alignment dot start, and here we could just pass a text and name it author name, and the author name was given to us from here. Author name could have a style from the footer lich theme dot light text theme dot headline 2, and if I save it, you see we have a nice name here. Let's copy it, and if I save it, paste it one more time, instead of this author name, let's pass the title, and instead of this headline 2, let's make it headline 3, and if I save it, you see we have it here. Now after this, lastly, after this text, outside this column, let's pass a spacer widget. A spacer widget is a widget that takes all the available space. Outside this, I want to pass a const icon that takes an icons dot favorite. This item should have a size of 40 and a color of colors.red. If I save it, you see we have it here. Now, with the author card done, finally we can come to this card tool and we can start working with this stack of text. So here we need an expanded widget, expanded, to take all the available space, and this child should now be a stack. A stack takes the children, like you know, and here we can now pass a few different texts, 2 different texts to be exact. Firstly, let's pass a positioned, because we need a positioned, and the child should be a text. The text should say recipe. This text should have a style from the footer lich, theme dot light text theme dot headline 1. And then a new position widget that should say smoothies. Now to position them in different place, let's come to this positioned, and from the bottom I want a padding of 16, and from right I want to be 16. For the smoothies, however, let's pass a bottom of 70 and a left of 16. One more thing that I want to do is I want the smoothie to be rotated on this angle. So to do that, I can wrap this text with a center and then change this center to be rotated box. Rotated box takes a quarter turns parameter where I can pass 3 to have 3 90-degree angle. So as you can see, we have a change of 270-degree angle, and it's looking pretty nice. With that, we are almost done working with card 2, but not done yet. What I would like to do is come to this author card where we have this icon. This icon is now in a state that is not currently saying that it's favorite. So let's say if we haven't clicked anything, it's not favorite, right? It's a border. If I click it, I want it to become fully red, and which will in turn mean that we have liked it. To do so, firstly I'll make a new widget where I'll do everything, because this is a stateless widget and I do not want to change it to a stateful widget. I could come to this lib and make a new file. Let's make it favorite underscore widget dot. This favorite widget should have an import of material.dart, and let's make a stateful widget and let's name it favorite widget. This favorite widget should have an icon button. Icon button should have an on press, which I'll leave it to empty for now. And lastly, an icon. Icon takes an icon widget, which in return takes an icons dot. I'll go with favorite border. Border. I'll give a size of 40 and a color of colors.red. Now if I come to this author card and I comment it out and save it, you see this is gone. But if I now bring my favorite widget here and save it, we have some error. Let's make this size box to be 7. Okay, we are good. Now, if I go to this favorite widget, since now this is in a state of not favorite, let's make a variable inside our state class. Let's call it a bool. Bool is favorite. Is it favorite? No, it's not. So let's change it to false. Let's make a void change favorite, and let's call a set state where I want to say that is favorite is now equals to not is favorite. So each time we click this, each time we fire this function, this favorite should be the opposite of whatever it is. So if it's false, it will become true. If it's true, it will become false. Now if I come to this function here, I could just pass change favorite. Now to see if that is in action, this icon button is only now showing the border. So I want to pass a checker here. What I want to do is I want to say is favorite. I want to call the variable is favorite. If this is true, I want to pass icons dot favorite. If this is not true, colon, it will be icons dot favorite underscore border. Let's remove this icon. So let's click it. Alright, that is working nice. One more thing I would like to do is whenever I click this, I want a snack bar to appear that would say me what I've done. To do that here, let's make a new variable, a const snack bar equals to, it should be a snack bar widget. So content of text that says favorite clicked. Now each time the set state happens, I'm going to call scaffold messenger dot off context dot show snack bar, and the snack bar will take the snack bar widget. My bad, I should name it SNA CK snack bar. Alright, so what we're doing is inside this change favorite here, first we made a variable. This variable holds a snack bar widget, and the snack bar widget takes a content that what should the snack bar show. Then what we are doing is then we are firing this action here whenever we are clicking it, and then after the clicking is done finally, scaffold messenger comes to show you the snack bar which you are getting here from the variable. So if I save it and click the snack bar, you see we have a favorite clicked here. We are on the dark mode, let's change it to the light mode to see what's up. Save it. Now if I click it, see we have a nice difference. Snack bar. Let's go back to dark. That is amazing. Let's hot restart. Now we are done with card 1, card 2. It's finally time that we start working with card 3. Now, to work with card 3, we still have the same exact style here for card 3, but I would like to change it to be mag1. So, instead of mag1, let's pass mag2, and if I save it, we have a brand new image. So, this, and this all has 3 different images. Now, for this container, we can pass a child. The child will take a stack. Stack takes the children. And now it's time that we start working on it. Firstly, for the stack, I want to pass a container that will change the color from whatever it is to a darker variant. To do that, let's pass a container. A container that has a decoration of box decoration of colors dot black dot with opacity of 0.6. Now you see we have a nice opacity here. Also, let's pass a border radius border radius dot all of radius dot circular of 10. Now after this container, let's come outside this container and let's work for the second container. This second container needs a few different items. So let's call a container inside of which we need a padding of const inset.all of 16. We need a child that say brings a column. The column needs a cross-axis alignment of cross-axis alignment dot start. After that, we need a children, and finally for the children, let's bring a const icon. The icon widget takes icons dot book which has a color of colors dot white and the size of 40. Now lastly, let's bring a new const of sized box which has the height of 8 and then a text. The text should call recipe trends, and this should have a style of footer lich theme dot dark text theme dot headline 2. That is great. And finally after that, let's pass another sized box, this time of a height of 30. Now after this container, we need another new container, the last container that's gonna show us our new widget, the chip widget. So outside this container, let's make a new container. This container should have a child that takes the wrap widget. Wrap widget is an amazing widget. What it does is it won't let anything go outside this image. What it will do is it will, whenever something is going out, it will automatically take it to the next line. So inside this wrap, it's called alignment. Wrap has alignment of wrap alignment. And let's put it to wrap alignment start. Let's pass a spacing so that each and everything has a spacing of 12. Finally, let's call the const chip, the chip widget. Chip widget needs a label where we can pass a text that says healthy. Let's pass a const here. What is wrong? Nothing's wrong, don't worry. Now let's copy this chip. Let's pass it 2 more times. Healthy, this one should be vegan, and the last one should be grass. Now we have 3 different chips. Now to see the wrap in action, if I copy it and paste it a few different times, you see it's automatically going to the next line instead of crossing it out. Now lastly, for each of this chip, I want to pass a background color. A background color of colors dot black dot with opacity of 0.7. If I save it, you see we have a very nice background here. So let's get rid of this chip and we can use this chip now. Instead of healthy, let's call it vegan, and instead of this, let's call it grass. Now lastly, my bad, this should be a center instead of container. Center. And if I save it, you see we have everything here. So that was it for this app. A beautiful app indeed that has many different new widgets and functions to learn from. I'll hope to see you in the next one. Peace.